Welcome to the Business Mechanics Show. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, co-founder of Results Driven Leadership, where we help you fix your people problems. Today's show is going to be on resolving tensions in the workplace, and I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps to resolve that. So what am I talking about when I mention tension in the workplace? See it all the time. Let me tell you a story that's pretty typical. This recently happened. The chief people officer of this big company, multi-billion-dollar company, rings me up. I'm always honored when she calls. She's got a problem at one of her manufacturing facilities. So picture this. This is the story she's sharing. This is the dilemma she's facing. It's a facility, about 200 people working there, and it's a mess. Tension is through the roof. Employees are at odds with each other. Managers are clashing. Everyone's got a beef with the execs. Naturally, as she's sharing this challenge with me, I'm ready to jump in and sort it out. That's what I do. So let's set the scene. It's like a workplace comedy. Only nobody's laughing, including me. Grab your popcorn as I tell you this story. You've got the training team. They're doing their thing, showing employees how to do their job. Good enough, doing what they're supposed to be doing. But plot twist, the leads, frontline leads who are supervising small groups of people on the assembly line, come in and say, no, that's all wrong. That's not how we do things. Cue the drama. Trainers and leads are now at a standoff, like glaring at each other across the metaphorical saloon. But wait, there's more. Quality control. They enter stage left, wagging their finger, telling everyone they're flunking at their jobs. So now trainers are mad at the leads are mad at trainers, and everyone's mad at quality control. Poor quality control. They're just trying to do their job. Meanwhile, over in sales, it's like a scene from a disaster movie. They're scrambling because everything's late, over budget, or just being shipped wrong. Customers are less than thrilled, believe me, and the sales team stress levels through the roof. And here's the grand finale. The president of the company, feeling like a volcano on the verge of eruption. And who gets to clean up this epic mess? Good old human resources. They're in hiring overdrive, trying to plug in the holes in this sinking ship, all the while muttering, why can't anyone just sort this out? It's a circus and not the fun kind. The root of the problem is like everyone's reading from a different script. Training says one thing, leads say another, quality control's on a different page, sales are just trying to juggle flaming torches. The solution isn't just hiring more people to join this chaos. That's currently what they're doing. They're just throwing the Band-Aid on there. It's about getting everyone in a room and untangling this knot. It's about aligning training with the leads, making quality control part of the solution, not just the problem spotter and the bad guys. And giving sales the right info so that they're not making promises that turn into nightmares. HR is not just hiring. In this world, they're peacekeepers in the Wild West. But to really solve this, we got to go upstream. It's about fixing the management style, streamlining communication, getting everyone to sing from the same song sheet. Only then can this workplace opera hit the right notes. Now, I assure you, this isn't some rare one-off situation. It's this stuff that keeps me and my coaching team in business. Something I've seen a lot. And here's the deal. A lot of workplace tension comes down to one thing: unclear leadership. It's like when bosses aren't clear about what they want or need, just, just throw your employees into a maze without a map. They're left guessing, and that's a recipe for trouble. Bosses very often, if I've heard this once, I've heard it 1,000 times. They should just know. They should just figure it out. Friends, they don't, and they shouldn't be asked to. That's what leadership's for. That's what direction and management's for. That's what clear communication for. Let's break this down. The signs and the symptoms, shall we? Let's boil it down to something really simple. A big source of office drama is when the bosses aren't clear. So put yourself in this situation. You're a regular employee, but your boss is a mystery novel. What do they want? What's the goal here? Nobody knows. You, as the employer, left guessing. And let's be honest, guessing games are only fun at birthday parties. The whole guess what I'm thinking thing from higher ups because they think you should just know, well, that causes all kinds of headaches. Imagine trying to hit a target blindfolded. That's what you're asking your employees to do if your communication, your expectations, your goals are not explicitly clear. Your team's going to be disconnected, feeling like they're out there floating in space trying to figure out what on earth counts as doing a good job. And you know what happens next? And this, by the way, happens in all kinds of degrees. This one happens to be a little more on the extreme degree, but this happens in all kinds of degrees. And if it's happening at all, folks, you got to fix this. And the good news is, I'm going to share with you in a few moments the 3 steps, the 3 most likely steps. If you get these 3 things right, it's solved. So stay with me here. When you've got these scenarios, people start underperforming. And if you've got a team or members of a team that are underperforming, it's not because they're not good at their jobs. Maybe right now they are, but because they're not good at their jobs, it's because they're playing a game with no rules or invisible rules, or they're getting rules through tribal knowledge. That's a breeding ground for all sorts of bad vibes, my friends. So let's do this. Let's talk about when things get tense at work. And trust me, once again, it's more common than you think. There's all kinds of degrees of this. It's like having a slow leak in a tire. It's not always obvious, but eventually it's really going to mess things up. It compounds. And so it's really important for you to spot these signs early. And that's the key to getting a patch on it. The communication breakdown. This is the biggie. When people stop talking, it's like the first domino in a long line. Fewer chats, dodgy meetings, people not sharing info. It's a recipe for mix-up and mistakes. They quit asking questions. This slows everything down. That happens, morale drops. Morale hits rock bottom. When there's a lot of tension in the air, you'll see folks losing their spark. My employees just don't seem to care. That's coming from most likely leadership. They're not into their jobs or their company anymore because they're being misled, miscommunicated to. Or someone's offering them poor communication. And you can just watch the enthusiasm evaporate. It's just incredible that the consistency of this over companies and teams. And when that enthusiasm evaporates, when that goes, so does good work and bright ideas, happy employees who stay with you a long time. People start calling in sick or quitting. Are you watching sick days pile up with certain individuals or worse? you're seeing some increased turnover. That's bad news for everyone's well-being. Not to mention the hassle and the cost of finding and training new folks. Oh my God, that's such a nightmare. Sometimes you get conflict and hostility. You get workplace warfare, arguments, gossiping. That's a huge sign of this. Snarky comments, the whole shebang. I've actually had bosses come to me and say, what can we do to put a policy in place where people don't gossip? Ugh. It's not their fault. You're making them gossip. And this gossip, these snarky comments, these infightings, it's not just uncomfortable. It spreads like a virus and affects even those not directly involved. And work quality takes a dive. Stress and tension mean more boo-boos, missed deadlines, subpar work. Oh, I forgot, or I didn't think it was supposed to be that way, or nobody told me. That's not good for business. It's not good for your reputation or anything else. And it also has a physical and emotional toll on the staff. Maybe you, headaches, feeling wiped out, burned out, crabby moods, you name it. And don't forget the serious stuff. You hear about it so much in today's world, anxiety and depression. It's not just bad for work, it's bad for people. No matter what business you're in, the people business. Isolation. You start seeing cliques being formed. Maybe it's a one-person clique, maybe it's a 2 or 3 or more person clique, but tension can turn a workplace into a high school cafeteria. I've talked about this a lot in my career through my observations. People tend to stick with their groups, or worse, feel alone, that they don't feel part of a group. That's horrible for humans. Plus that gossip mill goes into overdrive. It's human nature to want to be heard. Just listen to me. But in a tense environment that doesn't allow the ability to share ideas and thoughts and opinions and to be heard, you don't have the trust and authority. That authority often goes sideways. These issues are like termites in the foundation. They are foundational, and they will wreck your house. And if you don't address them and correct them, your house will become very weak. Efficiencies, meeting goals, general vibes all take a hit. It gets harder to keep good people the first ones to leave because good people can go find a job someplace else. And it gets really hard to attract new ones because your word on the street or your online reviews. Morale issues can turn a decent workplace toxic. That leads to more sick days, and poor HR, they're getting the headache. And in short, noticing and tackling this workplace tension, I think you're getting the point. It's super important. If you leave it alone, it won't fix itself. It's a mess for everyone and the business. So what's the fix? Solid communication, a supportive vibe, and being on the ball as a leader. That's how you keep a workplace humming along nicely. And before I go any further, let me drop this in. For listening to this podcast today, there's a link in the notes for you to access, download for free our video online course for how to create and manage successful action plans. That's all part of this. We'll talk about the communication. We'll talk about the follow-up. We'll talk about getting everybody on the same page, how you're on the same page in simpatico with your entire team. You're all working together, knowing exactly what's expected of them, what the goals are, how long we've got to get there. It's a great tool. Sign up for it. It's free. It's about an hour-long course with multiple videos and all the tools you need to help you along. Please take the time, download it, and take advantage of it. Now, I promised you earlier, we're going to talk about the 3 steps to leadership mastery, the road to clear communication. Let's address the problem. Step 1. This kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it because obviously not a lot of people understand the importance of this, and that's speaking clearly, asking more, and listen harder. Speak clearly, ask more, listen harder. Let me get into that. Let's get this straight. Communication and leadership isn't about giving speeches. It's not a one-person monologue show. It's more like a tennis match. It's a back and forth exchange where everyone gets to hit the ball. It's not about you talking. It's about everyone talking, and more importantly, everyone listening. If you sprinkle in some open-ended questions, nod along, be quiet, soak up what they're saying. It's about showing that you're invested in their thoughts as much as you want them to be invested in yours. Very often, we mistake efficient communication with effective communication. Just because you're talking doesn't mean that anybody's hearing. It's one of your biggest challenges as a leader. And one of the biggest mistakes many even experienced leaders still make today is they believe that telling gets it done, and it doesn't. Don't fall into that trap of thinking you're communicating just because you're talking. It's a two-way streak. It's a dialogue, not a monologue. It's not about what you say. It's about what they hear, what they understand. After you've shared your piece, you've opened it up, ask for feedback. Say things like, are we on the same page here? What's your take on this? What's going to go wrong? What's been your experience in the past? What's your opinion on this? How can we make this even better? When you start asking those questions and receiving that kind of feedback, your message isn't just heard, but it also gets a nod of understanding. It opens the window to retention of information. And then regular check-ins. I'm going to communicate it. We're all going to talk about it. We're going to walk out of the room. What are we agreeing to do in here, folks? You're going to do this. You're going to do this. We're going to get it done by then. We're going to avoid doing this. We're going to communicate with this team to make sure they're on the same page. We've got it all mapped out. Everybody knows. We're going to do a final double check to say, okay, what are we agreeing to here, y'all? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, let's go do it. Then you've got to go check in. Swing by quickly, see how things are going. And if anyone's scratching their head over this plan that everyone agreed to, and that happens, you can correct it. You can catch it before it's 2 or 3 weeks down the road and that all piece of the puzzle hasn't been put in place. This check-in process keeps everyone aligned, and it gives you a chance to clear up any confusion right off the bat. So if you're launching a new project, new plan, something, and this can be on a daily basis. This isn't once a quarter kind of stuff. This has got to be an everyday piece of your toolbox. Check-ins, go and see. The goal in all this is to put yourself in a free-flowing conversation, a constant free flow of conversation. And if you get good at listening, everyone feels their voice matters. The psychology behind that is everybody's more bought into it. You're much more likely to do what you say you're going to do than doing what somebody tells you to do. And you do not have the right to be mad or frustrated with somebody for them not doing what you didn't tell them to do. Keep that in mind. That's how you build a team that's not just clocking in, but truly engaged, working together like a well-oiled machine. And first things first, leaders must be crystal clear. That means setting goals that everyone can actually understand, achieve, and aim for, that we've all agreed, we've talked about it. And here's the kicker. It's not just about barking orders. It's about admitting when you've been part of the problem, maybe you've been a bit foggy, or you've not been great at getting your point across. This solves all that. So start talking. And this is a big but. Make it a two-way street. Encourage your team to chip in with their thoughts, their opinions, their ideas. Please do not make the mistake of being defensive and pushing it back. As soon as you create that lack of safety, of openness, you're never going to get any more opinions or ideas or thoughts. And you will pay the price for that. It's about listening. Listen more than you speak. My God, that's hard to do, but boy, is it effective. And maybe even more important is get feedback. Make sure, ask, are we all on the same page? What are we doing? What are we doing? Don't just have them nod their heads. Yes, we're on the same page. Have them tell you what the page is. What sheet of music are we reading off of? And what is the music? And then keep checking in. It's like making sure everyone's reading the same book, not just holding it. Let me give you a quick example. One of the best ways to do these check-ins, this is not the only way, this is a great way. Daily stand-up meetings, 5-minute stand-up meetings can be gold. Kick off the day, 5-minute standing. So we're going to keep it quick. What's on the agenda? What are we focusing on today? Then wrap up the day the same way. Have a closing stand-up. What have we done? Where are what roadblocks? Keep it snappy, keep it standing, keep everyone in the loop. Get the questions out there for the entire group. Remove the silos, the ambiguity. Now, this might feel like it's eating into your day, but trust me, it pays off. Effective communication, not efficient communication. Quick communication rarely works well. Longer, more involved communication almost always works better. Because clear, effective communication cuts down on mix-ups, time wasting. It's about being effective, not just fast. Get everyone clear on the roles, and you watch things start ticking along more smoothly. Step 2, get your hands dirty. Get in there. You need to really get what's happening on the ground. You cannot manage your team from a cubicle or an office or another part of the building. You got to be out there. It's too easy for bosses to get disconnected from the day-to-day. That's a one-way ticket to misunderstanding city. Leaders need to roll up their sleeves and dive in. Walk around. Manage by walking around. Talk to people. See what they're up against. And if you created this dialogue culture, you're going to find out. You're not going to just think everything's fine. You're going to find out, well, I don't understand this, or this tool is missing, or we keep running into this problem, or sales is telling us this and quality is telling us that. Let's get that worked out. And then you can take immediate action on that. But if I don't know about it, the tension rises. And as you're walking around, it gives you the great opportunity for recognition. Recognize the good stuff on the spot. A pat on the back does wonders. It's rocket fuel to success and engagement. And if you do it regularly, like Every week regular, it's about building a team where everyone feels seen and heard. So get out there on the front lines. See what your team's dealing with. Get stuck in. It's just not about overseeing, it's about understanding. Ask questions, listen to what your team is saying, show you genuinely care about their work. And here's the thing, there's often this big chasm between what the execs think is happening and what's actually happening. You may be the middleman, you may be the exec who thinks everything's going the way you expected it to. Execs, you need to get out there too. If you're the middle manager, make sure the exec stays informed. If you're seeing issues, it's your job, it's your leadership role to let the exec know, let the boss know what's actually happening exactly. In every business, things change faster than a chameleon on a disco floor. You know that. So what happens? You've got these assembly folks, right? They're spinning plates, loads of them. Up top, the executives are setting expectations based on. Sometimes I wonder. It's like they're using a crystal ball sometimes. The result, your poor team members are stuck in the middle, feeling like they're juggling in the dark. Opportunities get missed, team spirits start to crumble, and leaders, here's your mission. Should you choose to accept it? Deep dive into the nitty-gritty, manage up, find out what's happening with your team, solve the problem, but if it's above your pay grade, move upstream, get to the boss. But if you don't get involved early on the decisions and smash those communication silos to smithereens, this isn't just about gathering intel for decisions. It's about showing respect and empathy. Oh, it's powerful when you're right there in the trenches with them. It does wonders for morale. It bridges that exec, manager, employee gap that everyone gets on the same page with. It builds a workplace that's not just efficient, but is genuinely connected and motivated. So here's the trick. Here's the second action you can take. If you're not doing this, you need to start this ASAP. MBWA, manage by walking around. It's exactly what it sounds like. You, the leader, stroll around, chat, ask questions, observe, see what they're up to, and just get a feel for the place. You can't do it from your cubicle or from your office. You've got to be in the group. It's casual. The more they see you out there interacting with them, the more natural it will become, the more likely you will get the benefit of some discussion out of this. It's about making real connections, being aligned with your team. Remember, they work for bosses. They don't work for the company, so they're working for you. Their performance is a direct reflection of you as their leader. And here's the secret sauce of MBWA. Catch your team doing things right. Spot them nailing it and tell them that you saw it right then and there. It's like giving them a high five. And it isn't just feel-good stuff. It's backed up by solid research. Gallup looked at 3 million workers, and guess what? Regular pats on the back are like rocket fuel, as I said earlier, for team happiness and commitment. Reward the behaviors you seek. And here's the goal. Make sure every single person on your team gets some kudos, not just your favorites, not just the best people. If you want underperformers to get better, you got to catch them at doing things too. And they likely are. But from a mindset standpoint, you're not looking for it, so you don't see it. Change the way your eye sees it. And give kudos to everybody on your team at least once a week, every 7 days. That's the window. Proven research. And it's about you creating a habit of recognition. This does wonders for your team, for your workplace vibe. People feel seen, valued, and that absolutely cranks up the loyalty and eagerness to chip in more. You mix MBWA with a steady stream of props, and you've got yourself a workplace that's buzzing with energy and positivity. Wouldn't you love that if you don't have that now? And I bet if you have that now, you're sitting back with your chest puffed out and say, yeah, I can do that. Good for you. Keep it up. If you're a little bit short of that, here we go. I've just given you a great tool, and it costs you nothing but a change in your routine. You eventually end up with your team members not feeling like they're cogs in a machine. They feel like stars. They feel appreciated. They feel connected to you. They want to work harder for you. And who doesn't want to work in a place like that? You do. You like recognition too. Don't say you don't. Step 3. Lead with your ears. I did a whole podcast on this. Go back and find it. Listen, act, keep your word. Listen like your business depends on it, because it does. Ask open-ended questions. Who, what, where, when, how, when. Remember those. Ask them often. Don't ask closed-ended questions or ones that I'm not trying to be condescending here, ones that can be answered with yes or no. You want to elicit a response. You want to elicit a dialogue. Who, what, when, where, how, when. Ask open-ended questions. Tell me more. Share with me. What are your thoughts? How's this going? What's going wrong? What do you like about this? What are we doing that's stupid? But here's the crucial part of this. You're going to get some response, and you can't poo it. You can't just explain it away. You can't be dismissive of it. You've got to listen. And then you have to act on it. Now, if there's a really good reason, the reason why they're bringing it up to you is they don't understand the why behind why you're doing it that way, why this is the way, fill in their knowledge gap. Tell them the why. But if you agree that, yes, that needs to be fixed, empty promises are worse than no promises. Way worse. Follow through. Do something about it and keep the team in the loop. If you agree that you're going to go fix something or talk to somebody about something or get them a tool or whatever it is, listen, act, and let them know you acted, especially on the big stuff. So let me dive into this a little bit more. Listening, keeping your word, keeping everyone in the loop. This is like the holy grail of leadership. Listen like you mean it. Leaders got to have their ears wide open. They have to create a safe space where they're going to be hearing things, not having things hid from there. It starts with tossing out open-ended questions to really get to the heart of what's bugging your team, what the constrictions are, what the roadblocks are, what their misunderstandings are, what their opinions are. And here's the crucial bit. Actually listen to what they say. Really listen. Look them in the eye. Take notes. And listen. Don't talk. Listen. And you can talk by asking probing questions, defining questions, but show that you're genuinely interested in what they've got to say. And if it comes at you, don't take it personal. It's not. It's a chance to grow and learn and do better. Don't take these issues personally. They're giving you feedback. Seize it and do something with it. And when problems pop up, jump on them fast. This shows everyone you're not just nodding along, you're taking action. And don't ever ignore what you've heard or just sit on it. That's a one-way ticket to trust erosion city. And then the second part of this is walk the talk. Authentic leadership, another podcast I've done. Go find it, listen to it. If you promise to fix something, you better do it. Breaking promises, that's breaking trust. And when that trust breaks in a relationship, and you do have a relationship, whether you have a relationship at home with a significant other or a child or a spouse or whatever, when that trust is broken, it's almost irreparable. So keep their trust. Because once that trust is gone, good luck ever getting honest feedback again. You'll be flying blind, and that's never good. Keep your word. And keep the lines of communication wide open. Be accessible. And if you're out there walking around, you're asking questions, you're being accessible. Open door policy doesn't just mean the door is open. You know that, I'm being silly. But last point of emphasis here, all promises need big follow through. It's super important with the big stuff. Sometimes it's small stuff, but the big stuff, especially the small stuff, like days off or benefit issues or my paycheck was wrong, man, that goes to the top of the list. Listen, write it down, get it resolved, get it taken care of, then run back and tell them it's taken care of. That's a step often missed. Don't assume they're going to know that. Don't make them wait until the next paycheck comes to see their paycheck's been fixed. Tell them it's been fixed. Make sure they know that it's done. Yes, this is all extra work. It's extra time, but think about all the time you're going to be saving when you don't have all the BS that tension creates in the workplace. I know you're busy, but if you want to be less busy, take care of things once and for all, and you will be less inundated with problems and problem employees. Point of fact on that. Gallup, my favorite resource, their stats show that 70% of all managers' time is spent dealing with the issues created by disengaged and underperforming employees. Partner, they are disengaged and disgruntled because you ain't taking care of their issues. Boom. There it is. Start taking care of those issues. You'll have less of that BS to deal with. If you're not showing progress, or at least being transparent about it, you're going back to that assumption thing. You're brewing a big old pot of dissatisfaction. Keep people updated. Daily stand-up meetings, closing meetings, one-on-one meetings, monthly reviews, ad hoc meetings. Even if you're still just working on it, let them know you're working on it. Get credit for it. Let them know. And here's the thing. If you're not stepping up as a problem solver in chief, I wasn't a huge fan of President Bush too, but he had a great line once that I remember today, we're problem solvers solving problems. You need to be a problem solver solving problems. You need to be the problem solver in chief. You're setting up a world of trouble if you're not. Be the person that solves their problems. They will love you for that. They will come to you more often. They will share their ideas and thoughts, trust you more. It is awesome when you get there. And you'll find in time, because they're expressing their ideas, their thoughts, you're walking them through a process of critical thinking, they're going to get much more confident and able to think on their own. Wouldn't that be awesome? Or if you don't, if they're not talking to you, they're going to talk to somebody else. That's where the grumbling and the gossip and the infighting, they're going to chat amongst themselves. They're going to be heard. Do you want to be the person they share it with, or do you want it to be somebody else? Because that somebody else is unlikely to do anything about it. You are. Keep that in mind. And the last big tip at all this is open meetings. Let's talk about that. It's a super strategy. I picked up on it in my executive days. And take it from me, open meetings can work wonders. I've seen it in action. I got to tell you, I even had my peers from all parts of the country fly out to watch how this worked because it was so friggin' effective. The team that I was honored enough to lead spanked everybody in results. And here's how it worked. It was a commitment in time on my part, but I had drank the Kool-Aid on this. You get a team of people together. It could be a mixed use. It could be a mixed group of people, or it could be a specialized group. You get the quality team together. You get the business team together. You can get the assembly team together, or you can mix them all into a group. Just get a group together and have regular meetings with them, no matter the job title, and let them speak their piece, like a town hall without the politics. Hold them monthly, or at the very least quarterly. Hold them regularly. Schedule them, plan for them, invite people to them. And yes, you're already thinking about, oh my God, it's going to be a bitch session. Yes, it will be in the beginning. But really, do you want to know what they're complaining about so you can do something about it? I think you do. I did. Or do you just want to keep dealing with the offspring of discontent? This is a permanent solution. So picture this, a room where everyone gets to pitch in. Anybody that's in that meeting, and it can be virtual. I used to have it be a conference call. Before there was virtual meetings. Sorry, dating myself. And get everyone to pitch in. You have to call on everybody, but you have some newbies in there. You got some old timers in there. Everyone. The goal, you want to create a space where ideas and challenges can fly free without anyone feeling left out. Kick off the meeting, lay it out. This is what the meeting's about. You can pick a particular topic, or you can just be open with it. Believe me, as someone gets talking about it, it's a problem somebody else wants to talk about too. You create collaboration, teamwork. It's like setting the stage for a brainstorming jam session. You're there to facilitate this, listen, take notes, pinpoint the tough stuff, the things that are making everyone scratch their heads or get frustrated about. And then once you've gotten these things on the floor, work together with them to figure out how to tackle it. How do you want to fix it? What are your ideas? What are your opinions? What are your thoughts? How would you address it? Diversity is your friend. Different viewpoints, different statuses of hierarchy, different statuses of tenure. Sometimes your newest people have the best ideas because they got the fresh ideas. They got the fresh eyes, fresh brain. Sometimes your more mature employees, ones that have been around for a while, that's just is how we do things. And it's not always the way we should be doing things. You'll come up with some genius solutions. Define a goal. Here's what we're here for. Here's what we're going to talk about when we leave here. Here's what we're going to get accomplished. And get everyone tossing ideas around. And the key to all this is making sure you're valuing everyone's input. Ask questions. Allow for silence. Silence can be your friend. Don't get all awkward and fill in the gap. Let it stew. Believe me, someone will talk. And if you handle it, more will follow. Amazing. Seen it happen times. Pretty soon, you'll have a tsunami of conversation. Woo! Another little side note, have somebody else join you. to be the note taker, to capture these issues, because you want to be listening, not worried about writing things down. That keeps you in your head in the game. Ground rule, do not defend. Do not take things unpleasantly and personal. Make it safe. And it probably will take you a bit of time, a few of these meetings, to build trust, but keep doing them. The first one will be the worst when you do. The second one will be better. By the time you get to your 20th one, you'll be zooming. If you listen and solve their problems from their input, if you take action on things, or you at least explain why, you'll have them coming back for more. But in time, you will find there are fewer problems, and the problems they bring are reduced in intensity. Sweet. And if you're hearing the same complaint for the 1 millionth time, don't get frustrated with them. Look inwardly and ask, why are we still complaining about this? Why have I not solved it? Why is this still an issue? It's on you, not on them. Here's the key. Listen like you mean it. When someone tosses an idea into the ring, grab it, give it the attention it deserves, show that you value what's being said. It's not just about nodding along. It's about building on those ideas. Tell me more. Share with me. How did that happen? How long ago? Keep the ball rolling. Probe. Who else? Who, what, where, when, how, when. That's how you turn a good meeting into a gold mine of great ideas. Open up that floor for team chats. Got a problem? Brainstorm it. I'm a big fan of the book Traction and L10 meetings. IDS it, issue, discuss, solve. You'd be amazed at the gems you can find in these sessions. Active listening, constructive responses, absolutely key. Take your ego, hang it in the closet. There isn't so much about collecting ideas, it's about making everyone feel like they're genuinely contributing to the company's success. There it is. You'll get some great ideas. But most importantly, from this tension we're talking about during this podcast, you're dissipating that because now they're part of the company in a way they haven't perceived it in the past. They want to be heard. So listen to them. Or again, find somebody else to listen to you or to listen to them. Hello, gossip. Meet dysfunction. Listen, cut that out. And I can tell you one time during one of these sessions I used to have religiously, I had a part-time person throw out an idea that boosted our sales, just my sales, just my region, just my 18 locations by $500 million. It was like, I never would have thought of that. We never thought of that before. $500 million right under our nose. Just like that. That was a terrible snap. I'm not snapping very good today. That's the power of really listening and collaborating. So in a nutshell, listen, keep your promises, keep everyone in the know. It's about building trust, building respect, sense of team, tension dissipates, happiness evolves. Do this right. And you're not just solving problems, you're creating a workplace where everyone feels heard, valued, and part of something much bigger. So wrapping this up, easing employee tension is about talking more. It isn't about talking more. It's about listening. It's about talking better. It's about understanding the work. It's about backing up words with actions. And remember, if there's tension, it's usually not just the folks on the ground. It's about how things are being run from the top. Fix that, and you're well on your way to a very high level workspace.